Slight technical difficulty. It's all good though. And I'll just crank it up without the beats, without the intro, all that good stuff. So man, y'all are live and direct on Clutch Sports Talk Radio on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. It's your boy, the host, Mr. Famous Fees. Got my man G-Pap in the house with me today. Holla at him.
This your boy G-Pap from G-Pappy Sports, and we're here with another one. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. So I got an action-packed lineup. You know, all kind of stuff been happening in sports this past week. Stuff been going down the wire today. It's been happening this is just like non-stop. So, man, I got to talk to you about the Colin Kaepernick situation. I know it was kind of brewing up last week. It was like I didn't want to talk about it until we have more information. So I'm going to drop that on you. Definitely got to talk about this Mason Rudolph melee. That was a little ridiculous.
WWF.
Yeah, man. Your man Tua is out for the season, so we definitely going to chop it up about that for a minute. Then going to circle back around right into the college football playoff position and all those games that happen on Saturday and what we got coming up this week. And I always talk about the NFL. I don't even know if I had to tell you that.
You already know it.
We got a little, let me get you like a 2-minute little excerpt of some NBA in there. Got to talk about the beard, man. The dude is out there killing. We got to talk about Mr. Step Back. Step Back 3-point, 4-point play. JamesHarden has been murdering. But man, right at the top of the docket, Colin Kaepernick. This whole situation has been crazy. I mean, ever since we heard about this thing last week, the NFL just informed everyone, including Colin, on Tuesday, that they were going to have this formal workout that they have. So everybody has their own ideas about it. I've been kind of back and forth and on the fence about how I even felt about the thing. I mean, it seemed like it was a straight-up publicity stunt. It looked like the NFL was just putting on so they can just ultimately be like, oh, he doesn't want to play. Then we start hearing more about how they scheduled it on a Saturday. So now that way no GMs could make it to actually be there. No coaches could be there because that's a college football recruiting day and they all have games on Sunday. So it made it extremely difficult for anyone to actually show up. Then we get farther down the wire and we start talking about this waiver agreement. I actually had a chance to read the entire waiver today because I kept hearing about it. So like, man, let me see how it is. The language means you actually need to have passed the bar exam to completely decipher what these folks are talking about. But what I got from it, when I got to Article 7, that had to be the part that they had an issue with. What they looked like, the NFL came through, and I'm definitely giving you the Cliff Notes versions because they named so many people in so many different instances. They say that the NFL and all its affiliates, and they pretty much named anybody who has anything to do with the NFL remotely in any way, shape, or form. Say Colin, at this point, cannot file a grievance, a lawsuit, civil suit, anything of that nature that has anything to do with the workout, directly or indirectly. Something like that. That last little piece of language there with the directly or indirectly seems to be the part they had the issue with. I don't know that that's exactly what it was because they haven't told us that's exactly where they're headed with that. But from what it sounds like, that language in it looks like they'll actually be able to stretch that on past the workout and use it effectively as like a massive gag order on Colin. We're moving forward. You can't file any grievances, suits, or anything against the NFL, any of its affiliates, or anybody who has anything to do with the NFL.
Yeah.
Like they tried it from what it looks like. I mean, it could be different, but from what I understand from reading that, it looks like they tried to set it up to a point where they could be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, come out for these workouts. Nobody will sign you. Sign this little waiver, and now you can shut up.
Yeah.
That could be it. But on the flip side, Colin played his part in this too. Look, I can't just completely exonerate him.
Yeah.
I mean, they say he waited until Saturday, a couple hours before the workout, to move it. He moved it to Charles Drew High out in Riverdale, which was, I mean, I know it's been reported, they're like, yeah, it was over an hour away from Flowery Branch. Like, what it was right next to the airport. So, I mean, if you were going to leave from Flowery Branch, you had to go right over by the high school anyway. So it wasn't like it was out the way.
Mm-hmm.
They could have been packing up and been like, oh, I guess we'll stop by.
Yeah.
But originally it was scheduled to be 24 teams. Well, that was a couple of different numbers reported. I've seen 24, I've seen 25. I've also seen that 6, and I also saw that 8 showed up.
Yeah.
So between those 6 to 8 teams that did actually show up for Colin's workout, he probably just weeded it down to the teams that were actually interested.
Yeah.
You know good and well it wasn't 24, 25 teams that were actually looking to sign them. it might be that many that could use him in some way, shape, or form, whether it be to come in and start or be a backup. But that's unrealistic. He's been out of the league for 3 years. If all these teams had interest, they would have shown interest.
Exactly.
But, I mean, there was also another good point by that, brought up by Mr. Stephen A. See, the NFL actually had to do this for him, actually, to create a shield for the teams. See, anyone who showed interest in Colin was automatically going to be set up for the backlash. So, like, if you bring him in for a workout and you don't sign him, you might have grievances or lawsuits or anything else filed against you. So for the NFL to set this up as like a cover for all of the teams to come and look at him and not be held to the fire of, oh man, what's going to happen given whatever our evaluation is of him. To me, that aspect makes sense. I mean, he went out there and worked out. I watched the little workout tapes. I mean, he looked pretty decent. He looked just like he did when he left.
Yeah, same Colin Kaepernick to me.
What he was. He's going to be still better than a good percentage of the quarterbacks that are in the league. He definitely could come in and play, but that was never the issue. The issue was him being blackballed, which is, I don't really see that changing. I mean, he went out there and did his thing. He worked out. He kind of did an interview. Nobody asked him any questions. He just came and talked.
Yeah, he just said what he wanted to say.
He came in and said what he wanted to say, but on that same token, like, dude, why did you wear the Kunta Kinte shirt?
It felt like a movie to me. Watching the whole interview just felt like a movie from the 70s or something. Just a revolution type vibe.
Yeah, like he was calling the folks out, like calling out the owners and all of that. And like, while everything that he's saying may be true, you are trying to actually get on a team.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Why you trying to bring a lot of smoke to somebody to cut you a check?
Exactly. You just trying to play football. You want all the extras to it now.
Yeah, like there's a lot going on that, almost like from so many different directions.
It's hard to touch on it, really. It's just a complicated situation.
They also said the NFL wouldn't confirm exactly which teams and what reps from each team were coming. They wouldn't tell him what wide receivers were coming, so he paid and flew out his own wide receivers to come for the workout. Mm-hmm. It's like both sides were jockeying for positions.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Doesn't matter how good you think the play was by Colin. Ultimately, if you were trying to get into the league, it was a bad move. Yeah. It's like at some point, you're going to have to take a hit. Yeah. If you're trying to actually get in there. I can understand the contract part. Yeah. So even moving the workout. But it could have still been like a transparent interview.
You gotta go out there and play football. Just be focused. You know, you still got your mind on everything else but football. That would it seemed like, based on what I done learned the last few days. I don't watch the workout. Still look like the same Colin Kaepernick. He still got the arm. Still can throw it.
I mean, I've watched a lot of people take all types of different stances on it. People been called all kind of coons and outside their name for not agreeing. It's like, man, you depending on what it is that your actual desired outcome is, you can't approach it that way, thinking that you're gonna get what you want.
Exactly. Can't do it. Not in 2019. Nah.
Yeah.
You see what AB got going on? It's not like that no more.
AB trying to stay in the news.
Him and Colin Kaepernick right now.
I guess he figured Colin was up. Then we had Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett. Like, man, this is my perfect
I forgot
time.
about me.
Like, maybe he don't seem so bad right now. Like, no, AB, go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama in the NFL.
He's melting down right before our eyes with all these tweets. You saw the latest tweet. He's out here talking about he wanted to sincerely apologize to Robert Kraft and the Patriots, and he loved all of them. It's like, oh, you got official word that you're getting your $9 million back?
Now this was how you feeling 2 months later, basically.
Oh, the Patriots absolutely use Antonio Brown. We're not gonna front on him. He's still an excellent football player, and they're like seriously lacking in that position.
Yeah. Somehow, I feel like he's gonna be signed by the end of the year.
Well, no, I don't think he's going to be signed by the end of the year, because what's going to happen is the second somebody tries to touch him, they're going to put him on the commissioner's exempt list.
Yeah, you could be right.
The only reason he's not on the list is because he's not with a team. So, I mean, he would have to have a contract that actually had that outlined. Like, if you get placed on that list, we're not paying you $1.
Yeah. You know what team he's still on, though? He's still on my fantasy football team.
Oh, you tripping. You need to go ahead and get rid of that roster spot.
8-3.
I'm 10-1. Got rid of him a long time ago. But man, speaking on his former team, let me get to this Mason Rudolph nonsense, because it's so much to unpack there.
Yeah,
so many people just throwing all kind of extra shade at Myles. I'll start off by saying him hitting Mason with the helmet was way out of bounds.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You can't do that.
Yeah, that's out of line. That's assault.
Yeah, I mean, but Pittsburgh was down 21-7.
Still passing the ball. They run the ball.
14 seconds left in the game.
Run the ball.
Calling a screen pass.
And he still getting hit. He got sacked by
sacked
2-3
two
times.
plays before that.
Yeah, I was just watching it.
Yeah, when Miles went to hit him, he didn't really realize that he didn't have the ball anymore because he got there right as he released it.
Yeah.
So he was trying to make sure that he didn't take off and keep scrambling. Granted, you were up and the game was about over, so you probably could have just let him go anyway, but I can understand that he's like, hey, man, I mean, if nothing else, he's like, man, I want this sack on my stat sheet.
Yeah.
I'm taking him down.
Yeah, I need that.
But as he took the man down, then Mason is in there scuffling with him, trying to pull his helmet off. Then at one point, I mean, it looked like after he couldn't get his helmet, it looked like his hand was inside his face mask.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what he was doing. Was he trying to eye gouge him? He had his finger in his mouth? Like, man, what are you doing? Like, this is all bad.
It looked all bad.
So then the stronger party of the two gets up, grabs the face mask, picks Ruda up off the ground by his face mask.
He got grown man strength
and
for
ripped
real.
the helmet off of him. But then after he ripped the helmet off of him, he allowed the offensive lineman to calmly escort him away, and he had the helmet by his side. He was done with it. He was all the way done with it. He's like, okay, you tried me, I'm gonna rip your helmet off. Now what? He just kind of stepped back, and then Mason Rudolph charged at him like he was in a blind range. Like, what were you gonna do?
He wasn't gonna do nothing.
He ran up on him and grabbed him. I mean, you can't actually tell what he got, but from the looks of it and some steel frames, you know, steel frames can be a little misleading, but it looks like he grabbed him in a groin area. Like, he rushed him, he tried to go for the helmet, then he went down. So, I mean, that would actually make sense for the helmet move if that's what happened. I mean, you just think about what your reaction would be. Somebody run up on you,
you got the helmet in their hand.
Somebody reach up and grab you. The first thing you're doing, like that's why he got straight caveman Donkey Kong. He was just like, BAM! It was quick. It was just like, man, get off me.
Yeah. And after that, it escalated.
Anybody reach for you, the first thing you're doing, you coming down with the club. Like, oh, get off me.
The next thing you know, people on the ground, fists, people punching, kicks, all that going crazy.
Yeah, then Pouncey ran out there. He just swinging.
Swinging,
He
missed.
didn't really connect with any of that, but he was swinging. He threw about 4 or 5 punches, trying to go for a kick.
And then I seen the little kid.
Then Ogajobu, I don't know how you say his name, but Ogajobu, something, whatever. Number 65.
Yeah.
That guy.
Sackman.
Sackman came up and pushed Mason Rudolph in the back like he just ragdolled him. I don't even know why he did that. It was like, that was so unnecessary.
I felt bad for Mason the last 30 seconds. He just looked like he got bullied on that.
Then Mason looked up like he really wanted to do something, and the offensive lineman that tried to come to his aid kneed him in the back of the head. It's like, man, you'd already caught the helmet on the top of the head. You got ragdoll pushed to the ground, and then caught a knee in the back of the head within a matter of seconds.
And y'all losing. Hey, they took a sack. You taking L's on top of L's.
Yeah, so like, man, on the aftermath of it, what I didn't realize was the NFL actually has a rule specifically written for this instance.
Yeah.
In that situation, they say if a player uses the helmet as a weapon, then the penalty is 15 yards and a disqualification from the game. It doesn't matter if there was only 8 seconds left in the game. You got kicked out of the game, you got 15 yards. So I mean, I think an indefinite suspension, I think it's a bit much. I figured that's what was going to happen, was an indefinite suspension, but it probably shouldn't have been more than like maybe 4 games.
Yeah, 4 games, 4 to 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, people have done other things that seem to be a lot more egregious that they've gotten less games for. But then the part that's really bothering me about it is the way they rolled out the rest of the punishment. I mean, the Steelers and the Browns both got $250,000 fine to the teams, respectively. Then they gave Pouncey 3 games. They gave Sackman 1 game. But they gave Mason Rudolph is reported to be getting a fine for around $35,000. No suspension.
No suspension, no.
How do you get a slap on the wrist for, you clearly started it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You can be upset as you want to, and people are saying, oh, it was a roughing the passer penalty, that's why he was mad. Like, there was no flag. It wasn't, he didn't even slam it. He landed on top of Myles Garrett. He was just upset. He was frustrated. He got sacked 3 plays in a row, and he took it out on him.
I'm getting embarrassed.
He took it out on the wrong dude.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you should check the resume. Maybe Myles Garrett was a top pick. Yeah. And he's probably a freak of nature, and you probably don't want that smoke. That's probably why they couldn't block him.
Exactly. They could look like couldn't block nobody.
You didn't want that at all. It's like, man, Mason needs some games. Yeah. At least one. I think he should. If you're gonna give Myles Garrett the indefinite suspension, Mason should get. He should get a couple.
One. Yeah. That's crazy how they did that. Usually, when situations like that, they always catch the second person that did something. So I guess Myles got caught. Mason, he looked innocent because he was just getting sacked up.
Innocent card, like, man, miss me with that.
Yeah, I seen the mouth words when he fell on the ground. I seen the mouth word. He was starting stuff. He was talking junk too, but they ain't gonna say that part.
I mean, he called sack man a female dog real nice and loud. But he needs some games. That's just not okay.
Yeah, all that is not good. The coaching, all that, the Cleveland Brown coach, he probably trained Myles Garrett to do that the way they were talking. He was just looking like, oh, okay.
They're like, man, we let the pit loose.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have had that red rag out.
Yeah, exactly, for real.
It came for you.
Yeah, it's over with. Can't put that red out on it. It's over with.
Oh, man, not at all. So, man, that's what needs to happen. NFL needs to go ahead and suspend them. You can retroactively suspend them. We'll give you a pass if you just go back and be like, you know what, he can't play.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. Like, you got to be fair with these punishments.
Got to. It worked both ways.
Nobody's upset with what you did with Myles Garrett because he went way too far, but you got to give Mason something.
A little something. A little 35.
Giving these dudes way too much juice. Because, on the flip side of it, had that, like, it would have been so much worse had it been a different quarterback.
Oh.
I mean, from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Had it been like Lamar or Kyler or Cam or Deshaun or
anybody
Russell
like
Wilson,
that,
then it would have been a question of his leadership. He's not mature enough. Mm-hmm. Had it been like a Breeze or a Brady or a Rodgers, then Myles Garrett would be in jail right now.
Oh, yeah. He'd been on commissioner's list.
No commissioner's list. They would have walked the police out on the field and cuffed that man up. Yeah. Like, who did you just hit?
Yeah.
No.
And it should all be fair play,
Yeah.
But not how it is. No.
Yeah, man. So come back around, circle the horn. Just get rid of him. Like, just kick him out for a game. Yeah. Just do that for all of the fans of the sport.
For a little fairness. A little fairness. That's all we ask for.
You already did what you did against for Colin and that whole situation. Suspend Mason.
Yeah, it is.
He needs it. So, man, I told you I was going to get back to basketball for a hot second, so I'm going to give you these hot couple of seconds. My man James Harden, averaging 39.2 points a game, almost 6 rebounds and 8 assists. Like, he's first in the league in scoring, 8th in assists.
Weird.
And second in player efficiency rating. So for all the people that are like, oh, he's only shooting, 42% from the field and 34% from three. It's like, that's not terrible.
He's a shooter, so you know.
He shoots a lot of three-pointers. How you expect, like, he's not going to be 50% from the field because he doesn't shoot layups all day. Yeah. He shoots three-pointers and free throws. Mm-hmm. That's what he does. He goes to the rack and gets fouled.
Efficient.
He's
making free throws.
So I will remind y'all, I saw the way y'all looked at me. I saw the comments that y'all put up. Y'all gave me all kind of hell for this. Before the season started, I told you I had Houston as my #1 team in the league moving forward, and that was before they got Russ.
Yeah. Now
that Russ is there, like, I doubled down on it. It was like, I'm taking Houston.
Yeah.
Now Houston is #2 in the West, a half game behind the Lakers at 11-3 on an 8-game win streak. James Harden has been averaging 42 points per game on this tear.
And the crazy thing is, Russ ain't even get started yet. So once Russ gets right and gets, situation, and Eric Gordon come back, they gonna.
But Russ is doing what he's there for.
Yeah, he got the aggressive rebound and assisting.
He's picked up 3 triple-doubles, so he's almost back on his normal runs. I mean, he's averaging 21, 8, and 7.
That's all. He ain't got to do too much.
Those aren't shabby numbers when you're on the team with somebody who's averaging almost 40 points a game.
He got to be second fielder, though, but he got to have that attitude, and he got to be the leader.
He's changing one thing that Houston was missing. It was that defensive intensity.
Chris Paul didn't
Houston normally just turned to the side. They're like, we can outscore you because we can shoot.
I know. Russell's going to be in your face. Yeah. He grabbing rebounds over 7-footers and all that, diving on the floor. It brings another aggression.
Russ is about that. I mean, his energy is infectious.
Yeah.
The other players around him play harder defense because they're with him.
And James need that around him. Sometimes you need that, that pit bull mentality.
You can't be on the floor with somebody who's going out hard and you don't go hard.
Exactly. That's going to motivate him. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's only 14 games in. So just like I've been telling y'all, I mean, I think I did tell you I probably wouldn't even talk about basketball again until Christmas. But JamesHarden is killing. He had to get in.
The beard.
But 14 games in, you see how the narrative is changing? It went from the Clippers to the Lakers. It's like, oh, now it's Houston. It's too early, is what it is.
Yeah, it's going to be about 10 more teams by December.
All this load management going on.
I don't even want to get
can't
started
really do
on that.
anything about it.
Nope, can't.
But I think as a direct result, they're saying that the ratings are down in the NBA right now. I mean, players aren't playing.
Yeah.
So especially when all the teams have two players, if you've got two superstars per team and then you'll have one hurt and one on load management, because there are a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody really want to watch that.
Hey, load management finna be in the workforce again. Everybody finna be on load management.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like it's actually better for the league's ratings for there to be like super stacked teams, because then everybody's got somebody to hate on.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more Golden State, so now we've lost interest.
They done fell into the depths.
Oh yeah, but I mean they'll be fine next season.
Yeah. Next.
Man, but speaking of fall into the depths, my goodness, man, I hate to even actually have to talk about this. Tua Tagovailoa, or however you say his name, he's Tua. Tua, a season-ending hip injury, dislocated hip. He had the Bo Jackson injury.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ugly.
It's nasty. It's sad.
I hate that it happened to him like that. I mean, especially against the Mississippi State. I mean, they were running away with it. He should have come out of the game, and it was. But there's no way you could ever predict that something like that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That was like one of those added-on injuries. Like he had an ankle injury and now a hip. I mean, that's kind of like the whole like what happened with Pat Mahomes. Yeah. He had an ankle, and then it dislocated his kneecap on a quarterback sneak. It's like, man, one thing just kind of led to another. Yeah. That wasn't even what the issue is, and now you got that to deal with.
Yeah, now you got two issues.
Yeah.
And then you got to think about your career. You going to want to stay in college? You going to try to go for the league?
No, absolutely not. Like, what needs to happen moving forward with Tua? He just needs to go ahead and rehab and get ready for the draft.
Yeah, that's what I think.
There's nothing else for him to prove in college.
You're going to lose in college if you go back. Ain't nothing to prove.
I mean, he put up 418 yards on LSU on one leg. I mean, he was out there throwing darts. If he could have ran, they absolutely would have won that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he'll bounce back, especially him being a quarterback, and he's a mobile quarterback, but he's not a run-first guy. He's more like Russell Wilson, where he runs when you flush him, and he's fast enough to get yards, but he doesn't really do it too often. Mm-hmm. And he's very good at sliding. You don't ever see Tua just get popped.
Exactly.
So, I mean, once he's back, he can sit back in the pocket. I mean, I think this actually, just as a silver lining, if there can be one for such an injury, that means now he's going to slide deeper, like farther in the draft, and he's actually going to go to a good team.
Yeah.
So now he's not going to get drafted number one and go to Cincinnati and have fate.
Yeah.
He's not going to have the fate of their whole franchise on his shoulders every week. It's like that's a whole burden off you.
Yeah, he get drafted by a good team. They can be patient with him. You ain't got to rush him back.
He can come in like Lamar did.
Yeah.
He got drafted 32nd in the first round and went to a very good Baltimore team that now they didn't have to do a whole lot to tailor the team around it because they already had a team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are a lot of teams that are actually good teams that need a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of the good teams either have injury issues or old quarterbacks. So, like, all of them need quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, he probably actually won't even drop that far.
I don't think so. I think still be first round. I think it'd be
He'll still be first round, but like, he probably won't even go too deep into the first round.
Yeah. I get him. I take the chance.
I mean, most of the teams at the top can use him. I mean, the Patriots can absolutely use him because Tom Brady is definitely nearing the end of that road. The Saints could use him because Drew Brees doesn't have that much time left either.
Maybe the Chargers out there, they talking about Phillip.
Well, the Chargers are going to get an earlier pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they may go for him, but the Chargers are going to need him to play right away.
I know Phillip ain't got too much long.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. So, I mean, Tua's just going to have to just move on and wait till the draft. I mean, Mac Jones he's good. For what Bama has left on their schedule, they're absolutely not making the playoff now.
Yeah.
The committee's not putting them in over anyone, even with one loss. If they beat Auburn, it's not going to matter because they're not trusting Mac Jones against LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, or Georgia.
It's too late. It's too late to prove anything now with them.
Not happening. So, I mean, that pretty much takes them out of the equation. LSU been giving up a lot of points. I've been in here for the past month and a half telling you LSU is the best team in the country, and as I've been watching them for the past month and a half, I don't really think that's true.
It's just that offense. They probably got one of the best offense in the country.
Most teams can't score with them, but their defense is not good. You gave up 37 points to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean, you let the quarterback rush for 212 yards. They put up over 300 rush yards on them.
That's not LSU football on the defensive side.
So if you're telling me you can't stop Ole Miss from rushing, what are you going to do when they have, Travis Etienne?
Going crazy, 200 yards.
Etienne is going to destroy him.
Yeah.
You can't stop that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody could stop him last season. He's been doing it again. So, I mean, Clemson has found stride, just like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
They haven't played anybody, so they've just been slowly getting it together. They beat Wake Forest 52-3. It's been like this week in and week out ever since the North Carolina game. They've been running through people.
Yeah, Trevor had a good game. I seen the little stats. He was efficient. I seen him. Travis, another 100-yard game. He been running all year.
And outside of them, Ohio State is set up the same way. Ohio State has been constantly retooling with track stars at running back, wide receiver,
athletes,
corner.
J.K. Dobbins be.
Everybody on the team run 4.3.
Yeah, fast.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're telling me you can't stop the run and you want to, these teams can score with you.
Yeah, they gon' score.
Like, do you have a defense that bad? Ohio State and Clemson will both easily drop 50 on you. And they actually, I know Ohio State does have a more serviceable defense. Haven't seen Clemson play anyone to see if their defense is actually decent or not. But they've been getting a season-long rest, so they should be fresh if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think LSU is going to take a step back. When those the rankings actually, they should be out.
Yeah, I think they did drop about 10 minutes ago.
It's 7:27. Those new rankings are out, which they should have changed. I mean, they'll be LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, just like they were.